Nick Young wasn't just a lot of fun in the NBA, he hit threes to the very end. A role player on the world champion Golden State Warriors. Even for his last team, the Nuggets, Swaggy P hit 37% from three. That is awesome. So what happened? Actually, the story of Nick Young is a lot more complicated than just a silly guy who likes to hoop. He is a 34-year-old still desperate to get back in the league, and this video explains why he's not on a team and what happened to Nick Young. Hey, it's Casey. Welcome to AM Hoops. Hit subscribe and notification bells for 5 videos per week, always dropping at 9 a.m. Eastern. And this is something new on the channel. Every single Friday, we will do Feature Friday where we dive deep into someone's story. So I put out a poll last week, 4 guys. You guys picked Nick Young. Last week was Young AKA, the new Atlanta Hawk, and I'm gonna put a link to his story at the end of this video. Nick Young is from a rough part of Los Angeles, and he had a tough time growing up. He failed out of 2 high schools and almost didn't get another chance. That's when the higher-ups at the LA school system noticed what was wrong.
Finally, last week, the superintendent got involved, and he convinced the board that Nick didn't drop out of these schools because he wasn't smart. He dropped out because emotionally, he couldn't handle being in class with members of the same gang that had murdered his brother.
When Nick was 5 years old, his brother, Charles Jr., was shot and killed leaving his community college. Members of the Bloods gang mistook him for a member of a rival gang. Then Nick's oldest brother, John, was committed to a mental institution, and their father said that 1 bullet killed 2 sons. That is the background of a guy that most NBA fans know is just a fun-loving, carefree guy.
He was a fun person to be around. I never really got a chance to say goodbye. Mostly everything I do, like before a game, I say, Junior, let's go out and play.
Thankfully though, Nick had even more than that support system at school. He had basketball, and Nick became a star athlete. He was a top 10 high school recruit and won titles going up against his high school rival Jordan Farmar. Nick Young went to college at USC, which baffled everyone because he could go almost anywhere and SC is not a basketball school. After issues with low test scores, he eventually went to college and gave USC their best year ever. As a junior, Nick ended Kevin Durant's college career. The Trojans eliminated Texas from the March Madness tournament, and Young scored 22 points. SC was eliminated in the Sweet 16 by eventual champions North Carolina, but after 3 years in school, at 21 years old, Nick Young was drafted just outside the lottery, 16th overall by the Washington Wizards. So in some ways, that is the end to an inspirational story, but it's also the beginning of another. Nick Young overcoming a rough childhood, the death of his brother, a learning disability, became an NBA draft pick, and he was able to pull his family out of poverty. But once in the league, Nick quickly earned the reputation that's followed him ever since. A big talent who gets into big trouble. In January 2010, he was about to drop a 6th 20-plus point game of the season when the Wizards fined him for making light of Gilbert Arenas' gun incident. Arenas was charged with carrying an unlicensed pistol into an NBA arena and keeping it in his locker. Nick Young and 3 other teammates laughed and joked with Arenas pregame as he pretended to shoot them with his fingers. Arenas was suspended indefinitely. Nick Young fined $10,000. Now, I'm not trying to be harsh here saying that Nick Young is as guilty as Gilbert Arenas or anything, but all this played a big part in Nick Young's story. Gilbert Arenas was explaining recently that he was the one who turned Nick Young into Swaggy P. He said, quote, "I could see all the raw talent that Nick had, so from there, I'm taking him under my wing. But the problem with under my wing at that point in my career is I'm hurt, and I get hurt again. So I'm not the person that I was when I'm healthy in the gym 24/7. Now it's hangout Gil. If I'm going on the road, I don't have to play. I'm going to the club. Rookie wanted to go with me. So he became my sidekick in that sense, which was unfair to him at that moment." So you might be wondering, with a mentor like that, how did Nick Young last 12 years in the league because of talent. Young scored a career-high 43 points 1 year after the Wizards fined him. He was their leading scorer that season. But still, he would do really dumb things on and off the court. However, he showed enough for the Clippers to trade for him. But the problem with being back home was Nick would struggle coming off the bench. He shot 35% from three, but a miserable 39% from the field overall. His game was one-dimensional at under assist per night, and the big contract never came, despite a great playoff game when he hit 3 triples in under a minute. So after 1 year in Philly, Nick bet on himself again, taking a 1+1 deal with the Lakers.
Nick Young for 3!
This is where he finally found himself on the court. Nick thrived off the bench while Kobe Bryant recovered from his Achilles tear. He gave the Lakers great highlights and amazing sound bites.
You feel me? We back in the building. You got a nice suit on today too, man. You see what I'm going in this car with?
Yes, I do. She's beautiful.
What I'm gonna do with this shouldn't be legal.
So the Lakers decided to give that guy a 4-year, $21 million contract. Now he finally made it, the biggest payday of his life. And the next 4 years were Laker basketball and a roller coaster on and off the court. The first 2 years of that deal were a disaster. He shot a combined 36% from the field, playing just 96 total games with injury, but you can't mention this era in Nick's life without bringing up this.
How old was you?
At 9, right here on the show.
I hated being told.
What you like?
Everyone would make fun of me.
You was 30, she was 19?
Yep, D'Angelo Russell filmed Nick Young talking about cheating on his fiancée, Iggy Azalea. After that, he impregnated yet another woman, and the two had a very public breakup. By the time that contract was over, Swaggy P was a punchline, which made it really surprising that the Golden State Warriors signed him. A championship-level team with no drama at that time and a great culture. Nick Young even said in a tweet that their fans didn't know basketball.
I think my phone was hacked or something. But he told me, you know, tomorrow you're gonna play a little defense. I was like, nah, that's not my game.
Snoop Dogg came in my dream today, so.
I don't really want to be interviewed right now. I want to go turn up.
Remember this date in NBA history, the day Nick Young said he didn't want to be interviewed.
Despite that, he played really well in the regular season, hitting 38% from three, but he slowed down in the playoffs and he was barely used in the finals. Swaggy got his ring, but he didn't get a callback from Golden State. What happened? Was it his playoff performance? Was it that time he got arrested for not cooperating with police? Or was it calling Kevin Durant soft in an interview? Either way, his career ended with a 4-game stint in Denver the next year. So again, the question, why is Nick Young out of the league? He tweets and comments on Instagram at teams once in a while saying he's still ready to play. A video was posted literally this week of him balling out and looking good. But I think it's pretty easy to tell after this story. Yeah, he can hit threes, but that's it. He takes contested fadeaways like Kobe Bryant without the Mamba's skill. He doesn't pass, which is frustrating to coaches, and he sure doesn't play defense. Those kinds of players are like Kyle Korver or Marco Bellinelli. They all hit threes, but they don't stay to the club until 2 a.m., get arrested at 32 years old, or have public breakups with celebrity girlfriends. Bottom line, he's a distraction that's not worth what he can bring on the court. Look, in a lot of ways, Nick Young's story is really inspirational. He overcame a rough childhood to earn about $40 million playing basketball. But in other ways, his story is a warning to younger players. Yes, you can age and stick in the league, but only if you act your age at the same time. Support AM Hoops and click subscribe. Don't miss a daily NBA video.